everyone. I'm Sam Poppell.
And I'm William Mclelland.
And we are the hosts of the Elite Real Estate Podcast, and welcome to episode 1.
Episode 1. Sam, tell me about it, man. This is a long time coming. Super stoked. I know we've been, just working on a few projects, learning a lot on the way. I loved the idea when you pitched like, hey, let's get after a podcast. And then Sam, just the way he is, he's like, hey, man, I got it lined up. We can get everything online, live recording. Like, let's do it. Next thing I know, we've got like mics and we're rocking and rolling and we're ready to roll. So super stoked to be here. Pretty much today, we're just going to kind of go a little bit of an overview about Sam and myself. But yeah, stoked, Sam.
Yeah, no, me too. That's going to be a great first episode. It's really a passion project because, I mean, we've been interested in wanting to do this for a while, but we really want to make sure we want to kind of do it where we can learn at the same time. So I think today we're going to kind of tell you a little bit about ourselves and how we met. And I'm just going to kind of start that off like how Will and I kind of came together was our a real estate wholesaling mastermind that we both went to, and neither of us wanted to be wholesalers. That's what we both found out on the first night. We both just
listening to this, and J. Paul, look, we love you guys so much. But once Sam and I just started chatting, we knew that we were pretty much like on the same wavelength. But the amount of valuable information that you guys give is undeniable. But it really wasn't where we were at. But it's a beautiful partnership, and right. Sam's become my best friend, so that's invaluable to me.
Yeah, and I was going to say, wholesaling is a skill that applies all across real estate. So it doesn't necessarily have to, you don't have to be a wholesaler to be able to use wholesaler knowledge. And that's one of the things that we kind of figured out when we went there is we really just wanted to kind of figure out how to get the best deals for ourselves. And I think we were able to do that.
Yeah, man, I've been super stoked. I love the idea of just, getting a little bit of knowledge, being able to share it a little bit with a couple, 100,000 followers that are going to be listening to this hopefully soon. No, just kidding. But yeah, so that's how Sam and I met. Sam, you want to kind of give a little deep dive of how maybe you got started in real estate as a whole, instead of us just kind of fast forwarding how we got to the wholesale meetings and it was a master program and how we met. But like, let's kick it way back for everybody, for the listeners and stuff.
Yeah. So my very first property deal was a condo in Destin, Florida. And the reason I kind of, went for this is I was dating this one girl and she was telling me about her mom's boyfriend owning these units at the Palms of Destin. And and it was just all about, she told me that, these he gets about 35, 40 grand a year in rental revenue. And at the time, these condos were selling for around 150, 160. And I didn't know anything about the 1% rule, 2% rule, or any kind of real estate investor lingo. But I was smart enough at the time to know that if you can buy something for like 150 and it makes 30 grand a year, that's a really good deal.
No doubt. No doubt.
So like I said, even in my naive times, I still recognize the value there. So I ended up, buying that. I had to buy it as a primary residence initially. So I lived there for a year. And then after that, I moved into a shithole, a little 2-bed, 1-bath place so I could rent for really cheap and rent out my property for more. And that, my first rental. So when I turned it into a rental, it both paid the mortgage and paid for my rental and gave me a tiny bit on top. I mean, not enough to like, brag about or do anything with, but it was enough that I was living for free after that first one. And then about 2 years later, I was able to, go in and buy a second one. And, kind of, from there, once property started appreciating, I was able to refi the first one and get into flipping. And it's kind of, that's really kind of where the beginning happened, and then just kind of diving in there.
You hit on a couple really cool topics there. You said you bought the condo as your primary residence.
Right.
And then also you said you refinanced it. Can you kind of walk us through why you bought it or what the benefits were buying that condo? Like you said, obviously it made sense. It's renting for $30,000, $40,000. You're popping the entry price at $150,000, $200,000. Money makes sense, but why'd you do it as a primary? And then also how and why did you refinance it? And then what did that allow you to do?
Right. So a couple reasons. First, I actually did need a place to move to, myself, because I had a dog at the time. Very hard to rent with a dog, especially an XL pit bull. So I had to buy my own residence. So whenever
Maybe our first real guest on the show.
what's that?
He's going to be our first real guest on the show.
Yeah. Got it. My boy Daddy.
Hey.
So anyway, so that was kind of one of the reasons why I had to buy as primary. So I needed a place to live, but also I could do a little bit lower down payment. The catch was you have to have intent to live there. So I lived there a year, and then really kind of my work was in the next town over, and I realized like that the travel was kind of ridiculous. That's why I figured I could rent this other place a whole lot cheaper. And that's kind of, like I said, I just, at the time I knew that if I, kind of sacrificed and lived in the lesser place, I could save a lot and get ahead. And that's what I did. And that's actually me living there is what helped me save enough to be able to buy the second condo as well. So it was all just about kind of being frugal, so I could keep, moving up to the next level.
Dude, nice. It's kind of interesting how that story goes. Like my first entry level into real estate was like house hacking, but I was going to Troy at the time, Troy University in Troy, Alabama, a really small spot. And I found this really cool rental, and it was this old historic house that was like right by campus. And it was really weird layout. It was like, technically it was a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. But what I did is I put bunk beds in this middle, like open living room, closed off that wall. So I made it a 3-bedroom, but then there was like double bunks inside. So we ended up having like 5-6 people living in this house. So not only was I renting it, living for free at like 2021.
Party like crazy.
Well, I don't know about that,
right? I was just peeping college house, bros scattered all over the place.
Yeah, this is honestly like crazy. I wish I would have done this like tenfold over, but some of those listeners that might be, freshmen or, 18, 19, 20, you don't have to be in college. You can do this anytime. If you're, responsible, have good credit, you can do this. And, of course you need to get permission by the landlord, which I did. I told them like, hey, look, this is my credit. This is where I'm at. And luckily I had worked in high school and leading up the first couple years of college. So I had that, which is something that, you're going to have to do unless you know the landlord specifically. But the cool thing was I was living rent free. Of course, I took a bedroom for myself. I was not living in one of those bunk beds. So I had a prime room right next to the 1 bathroom, which honestly was prime real estate in that time. And then I was, making a couple $100, which like in college, that's big time. Like I was stoked, I wasn't having to pay. And so as I continued to work on weekends and through the summers, I saved money. Ended up duplicating this process after I graduated. I came down to Pensacola, Florida, but did it on a little bit larger scale. So this time I got a 5-bedroom house with a pool. So those were my quote unquote minute.
Nice this time.
I did it nice this time. Yeah. And this time I actually took a master bedroom. So I had it, ended up getting a whole bunch of buddies and did the same thing. And this time without, like necessarily getting all of the benefits back to me. I just made it where everyone in the house, they were all my friends. We all were living month to month with a huge house, like almost 3,000 square foot home with a pool for less than $300 a month per person.
Wow.
It was incredible. And since I found it and it was under my name, all my exclusion is I was out of the bills. Like, you guys had the bills and I'm giving you an unbelievable spot. And of course I did not get my deposit back. But unbelievable time, and saved just a ridiculous amount of money. And that's actually how I got in it with no money. So I know a lot of people are really curious on, how do I get into real estate, or how do I make money from real estate? And this was actually just like super creative in a way that I decided to do it on the means that I had. And I was just like a broke kid in college, right? And so I just wanted to keep working. And I was like, man, what am I spending the most money on month to month? And it was obviously like my living expenses. And so I was like, what if I just live with a whole bunch of my friends, have a great time, get them a good deal, and just rent out rooms individually. But again, I had to ask for permission. So that's really important from the landlord. And then everything was in my name, right? So you do want to be able to trust these people, because that could have easily gone south. And again, I'm like, 20, 21, 22 years old. And I did this, 2 more times after that, which are a couple other stories, maybe for some other episodes, where it didn't work as well, but it was still okay, which ended up giving me enough money saved. And I bought my first house on a short sale, which we can get into at a later date. But that's, a really interesting, like 2 totally different paths that Sam and I, went in. Obviously, it was where we were living, but lower entry points, primary residence. He purchased. I didn't purchase. So there's like so much cool stuff that you can do in real estate, and that's kind of really the basis of this podcast.
Right.
So.
So and I'll be honest, dude, I didn't even know about all your house hacking of the past.
What? I thought we talked about that. That's so long.
I didn't know you were like within 2 more times. Like, I didn't know you were this house. Like, I just knew you like did it like, I thought the one. So wow, that's actually
I told you
cool.
about the one that I did on Navarre Beach, though, right?
Actually, I don't think you did. Tell me about that.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. So
Navarre Beach is sick, by the way. If you guys are listening from other parts of the country and don't know where Navarre Beach is, Navarre Beach has some of the widest, most beautiful sand you'll ever see. There's miles and miles of undeveloped beach because it's on a national seashore. Navarre Beach is like one of the best beaches in Northwest Florida.
Florida's hidden beach, right? Hidden treasure.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
So actually, you shouldn't visit there. It's terrible. Don't go.
Yeah.
No.
How about the house hack? Let's hear about that.
Okay, so this was really, really fun. So after I had house hacked a couple times, 1 in Troy, 2 again in Pensacola, I wanted to get to the beach, but as you guys know, doesn't really matter where you are in the country. Like, the beach is expensive, right? Yeah. So I was like, man, what could I do? So I started searching so hard. And I found this really, really ratty, like townhome complex, or condo complex, essentially, but it was on Navarre Beach. So if you guys are familiar with that area, like there's Navarre, Holly, and those are all mainland Florida, but you actually can take a bridge, which brings you out to like this national seashore that then it eventually connects all the way back into Pensacola Beach. And it's a very small strip. It's pretty much all condominiums and some very nice homes that are out there. So I was just searching day in, day night. And I had this goal. I was like, I want to live at the beach. I want to live at the beach. And I found this old gentleman. His name was Tom. I will remember him always. He's awesome, awesome guy. But he was 82. And so what I did is he wanted to list it, but it was just like so trashy. I mean, I stepped into that thing and I almost threw up because there was, no joke, some type of animal, something on every corner of that. So what I told Tom is I was like, hey, what
was it? Was it worse than the house that we looked at that we almost bought from the bank that was full of cat piss?
So that's a whole nother story. But take that, Sam, from that bank foreclosure times, I'm not even joking, 10.
Okay.
Dude, it was like you walked in there and you needed like a mask. So I said, Tom, literally, like I'm covering my nose like this. I don't know if you guys are watching or if you're listening, but like, I was like, Tom, I know you want to rent this place. I want to be here because it was prime. It was the top floor and I had a view of the water. And not only did I have a view of the water of the Gulf of Mexico, it was placed perfectly into an open slot to the sound. So if you guys check Navarre Beach, I was on this little spot where in my master bedroom, I could see the Gulf of Mexico. In the kitchen, I could just see the what is that? What bay is that?
So the sound connects the Choctawhatchee Bay and the Pensacola Bay. So it's but yeah, it's yeah, so it's but yeah, the sound there. So that's awesome. Like, so you basically beach to bay view. Wow.
So fast forwarding, because I don't want you guys to sleep on this, but Tom said, like, hey, if you can clean this up, I'll lock you into a contract for 1 year. And so we negotiated back. And if you guys know anything about beach real estate, especially like seeing water on both sides of the condo, I mean, you're really not getting anything under 2,500 to 3,000 a month. And I said, look, I'll fix it. Can you provide the materials and I'll do the labor and I'll make it great. But the best I could do if I'm putting sweat equity, this is $1,000 a month. Shook my hand. We made a deal. It was the best darn deal and the best year of my life. I loved it. I ripped up all of the that nasty carpet, put some Kills in there. If you guys are familiar with Kills, got all that nastiness out of the way. Repainted the whole place. Put new LVP throughout the whole place. Had to keep all the doors and windows open for like 3 days, no joke, to keep all the smells out. Ended up having like a totally new condo. Maybe down in the link, I can find some photos of the before and after. And then ended up, living at the beach in a 2-bedroom place with views of the water, both sides, for $1,000 a month. So again, super low. I was going to have to find a place to live. You can't even get, like, in this area, you can't get any type of rental, let alone at the beach.
I don't even like, if we were talking about like that today, like that would be like, for that one little spot, like at least 3,000 a month. Like,
dude, at least.
Like I honestly, I think probably 3,500 for that for very bottom, because I mean, there's very few places in the entire world that have a beach to bay view, so
totally, dude.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And again, I was not paying any of the HOA fees, the insurance fees, or anything. So really, Tom was charging me the $1,000 of what it cost, his carrying cost, which was insurance and HOAs at the time. I think the HOA was maybe $680 a month. And then that might have covered the insurance and things like that. But, he really wasn't making too much. So when we kind of put that deal together, I wanted him to at least be able to cover it, so he didn't like go into foreclosure or whatever while I was living there. So if you guys are thinking like, oh, you did all this work for him, and you still were paying him $1,000 a month, it wasn't a good deal. Like, just look up Navarre Beach and you'll understand, like, that was unbelievable. And I would do that deal 1,000 times over again if it was possible.
I'd move out of the house I owned to go do that deal.
Same. I'm actually sad that I ever ended that lease.
Yeah, no, like I'll move out of my house now for that, because that's unbelievable. Man, like that's funny. So like, one of the things that that really made me want to partner with Will was his new construction knowledge. Because we haven't even gotten into his former career path as a project manager for D.R. Horton, and building tons of new homes. So man, what was building all those houses like?
Wow. So D.R. Horton is a machine. If you guys aren't familiar, I know they operate pretty heavily in certain states. So some states might not be as familiar, especially like Texas and things. They have like KB Homes, Ryan Homes, things like that, more localized to Texas. But D.R. Horton is actually based in Arlington, Dallas area. But there's a whole bunch of states like in the Midwest and stuff where they're not as prominent, but they are America's largest home builder. Unbelievable machine what they have. They do, $4 to $6 billion in revenue annually. I think they're running on the 17th or 18th year as the largest home builder in the United States, which is like a pretty hefty accomplishment. Trading on, Fortune 5, they're Fortune 500 company. I think they're actually like a 250 maybe now. So doing big time, really implemented some like strategic processes, as well as like, really cross blending a lot of logistics and allowing me to understand like this is the start of a project, and this is what it looks like when a lot is completely wooded or there's wetlands, or like what you kind of do to get around that, and how do you get through the development stage to even break ground, because there's so many things that happen before you're even allowed to, you know, move dirt or remove trees. Like there's so many things, so many steps to get to that point. And I'm very thankful that I had, you know, that experience and that time. And then after that, I had just an amazing mentor with a smaller building company out on 30A, which if you guys are not familiar with that area, another like very unique, eclectic area in the Emerald Coast, in South Walton County. Very cool spot, and had some opportunities to build some multi-million dollar homes, meet some very awesome people, from really every facet of the business. From
Hey, let me just insert real quick for people that, you know, may have heard about 30A or haven't been to 30A. Like,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, 30A is like one of the most popular spots in the whole Panhandle. Yeah, I know I was talking to Bar Beach up, but yeah, 30A is definitely known as one of the premium places to vacation. Your average townhouse over there is over $1 million. Like, just to let you know,
Right.
like they have, yeah, they're like $20 million beach homes are common over there. You know, so it's a whole other level of elite real estate. It's a very, very nice area.
Yeah, so that's actually a good point. I guess I did kind of brush over that. So in that experience, I was very fortunate. Like there was very few individuals that would be able to stand on like a fourth story crow's nest overlooking the Gulf of Mexico in a $10 million home that you helped develop and build. Which was just like, looking back at that experience is, you know, undeniable on how lucky and really cool it was. So yeah, thanks for adding that in. If you guys haven't checked it out, like we don't work for like, you know, whatever the tourist or whatever 30A is. It's just an unbelievably cool spot, and it's so unique to this area, that if you haven't, you should definitely check it out. It's super cool, and they have like so many state parks. It's really preserved. Like building codes are extremely tough. Like every home that we would build there had to have its own retention pond on its lot. So you can't create a drainage plan that would flow through a neighborhood into like a large retention pond. Like if you're building a custom home, you would have to then, you know, go to a landscape architect, get an engineer. An engineer would then have to create a rendering of like what exactly the drainage plan would look like, you know, and it's like self-containing water underneath the house if you were building on pilings, or you'd have to create berms and swells in your own backyard so that you were holding your own water, like all kinds of really interesting things to preserve that area. But then again, all of those things become a logistical nightmare when you're trying to build stuff. So it just adds to the, you know, to that factor of what a unique little spot that is. That's just kind of a hidden gem of the Gulf Coast.
No, that's awesome. And then I guess, like I said before, that was one of my biggest reasons why I knew you were just such a good person for me to partner with, because you have all that new construction knowledge. And then, yeah, I've done the fix and flips, but then I'm more heavy in the, you know, rentals and short-term rentals and stuff as far as things I've done. So, you know, I definitely knew if I ever wanted to get into new construction, I wanted to partner with a guy who's done a lot, and that's where you came in.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, it's like super thankful for my time at DR Horton and at the, you know, the boutique builder that I worked with, because you know, DR Horton it allowed me to see so many builds so fast, so quickly. And then working with that boutique builder on these, you know, multi-million dollar homes was just a unique experience to see that level and, you know, attention to detail, it also gave me like a really cool perspective of like things like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I needed toe kick lighting to automatically come on and, you know, turn my espresso machine on. I think I need that. It sounds pretty cool.
Wow. Yeah, that's like it, definitely a whole other level of luxury, building, because, you know, DR Horton is known as the affordable home builder. So it's like you went from, you know, where you know build, you know, people's starter homes to building people's, like, you know, dream bucket list homes. You know, so
Totally.
definitely a transition there.
But yeah, man, I just have I have to be honest here. Like, I'm having a ton of fun doing this.
Mhm.
And, Sam and I's relationship, even though it's relatively new on how we met at this mastermind, like he and I have clicked. We've like been on the same wavelength, really, like on every business decision, everything that we do, which makes our partnership like unique, but yet also like a friendship too, which is like my favorite part. Like we're kind of like, to be honest, guys, we're in separate rooms, but we're together, like hanging out, doing this recording, and we're like just having a ball. Like we're just hanging out, chatting, talking, talking shop and stuff. And then we were just like, let's do this. And we had this. We'll be honest, we had this like really formulated like podcast that we were going to bring to you, and this has just been like an organic talk that's kind of happened.
Right.
Like even crazier. I can't believe I didn't tell you about that Navarre deal. Like that was so
Yeah,
insane.
dude, I didn't know. Like that's good stuff. I mean, and that definitely shows, people out there that, like right now, it's a very tough time for a lot of people trying to find places to live, sometimes trying to find a place to rent. And that was a very cool story of how, if you can look how to solve someone else's problem, you can then get a very good deal for yourself, and so this guy had a huge problem, like dude, how much do you think he would have had to spend to get his condo right? Like, if he was just going to pay a handyman contractor, I mean, he probably would have to shell out 20 grand, 30 grand.
Oh, at least. Yeah, it would have definitely been heavy. And at that time, I wasn't really like thinking that I was going to be paid for my time to like clean all this stuff up, because I was just like, heck yeah, I'm locking up a place on the beach and this is insane. And I think
Right.
I was 22. Yeah, I was 22, maybe 23. I'll go back in the timelines, but 22 or 23. So I was still pretty young. So I wasn't like going to charge him for this, but yeah, he would have spent like a fortune. But again, like real estate, a lot of these things, like no matter what facet you're in, if you're in new construction or if you're in development or flipping the script 180, if you're just doing, getting introduced to wholesaling or things like that, fix and flips, like your goal really needs to be like you are focused on helping someone else solve their problems, and the money will find you. Like a lot of people I feel are like so monetarily focused, and um they get distracted. And I know you guys, if you're listening to other podcasts, like if you've come to us, you've definitely probably listened to a ton of other podcasts too. And so you probably heard that analysis paralysis, and that really is stem. Like, of course you want to make educated, smart decisions, but a lot of times those are led strictly based off of money. Now you don't want to lose money. Like we're working, right? And we're making, the goal is to make money. But if you can help solve people's problems like while you're doing that, it's just even more amazing. Like going back to the story, like some of you guys might not have been as interested because you're like, okay, well, this guy didn't make any money and he still was paying $1,000 a month. But like for me in that time, I helped this 80-year-old guy like a ton. He couldn't. He was actually an older place, so there was no elevator. So he hadn't been in the unit. He told me in over 3 years. So he had no idea. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. So he couldn't get up the stairs because there was no elevator. Old unit, like before all the Florida codes and stuff like that. But so he hadn't been in the unit, and I had to like take pictures and then walk downstairs and show him all of the stuff. And he's like, oh my gosh. So like not only did it help him, it was also in that time of my life, I had this goal that I wanted to live at the beach. So it was totally worth it to me.
Well, and I
Yeah.
mean, you did get the place for like over half off of what it would have been,
True. Yeah.
So I do want to point out to people, like, even though you're paying rent, like that's a huge win, because like rent
Oh,
would
it's
have been
definitely
probably 2,500 at that time of life. And yeah, and like I said, that same condo today would rent between 30. I can't actually. I'm keep going up. I actually 35 to 45 probably. I mean, I don't know if you could find one. I mean, beachfront
if you can
living.
find it. That's the key. That's the key.
Yeah,
Is like I was
it's
searching so hard.
such a rare thing. So yeah, I know I think that's a really cool story, and a great way that you were able to help someone out of their problem, and you got to win as well, being able to live in a great location.
Yeah, no doubt.
So
But dude, I
cool.
do want to take 1 second and thank our sponsors, Clean Eats. So if you guys haven't been out, unbelievable. Like, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I had a little bit of I actually lost 50 pounds. So a huge thing was just focusing on how I could meal prep and things like that. So big shout out if you guys have never been to Clean Eats, unbelievable place. They're our sponsor for today's episode. Hopefully they'll be a sponsor on a couple other episodes, but like, they're crushing it. They can tailor your meals based off of, what type of dietary restrictions or what type of diet you want to be on. Plus they have like the most amazing pizza. Let's take a second, Sam, and talk about this pizza that I can eat a whole pizza for like 470 calories, the whole freaking thing. Not saying that I am eating a whole pizza, but like it's absolutely.
Let's not lie to them. When we eat those, we eat you the whole one. But
we got one cooking in the oven, to be honest, guys.
Yeah, it's a 10-inch pizza. The whole pizza is for our thin wheat crust pepperoni pizza is like 428 calories. So you can eat you can eat the whole.
I was even giving us an extra 50 calories there.
Yeah, so you can eat the whole pizza and you're still eating like 2 slices out of any delivery company. I mean, I don't want to knock anyone by name, but you pick any of the big brands that deliver pizza to you. any of them that deliver, we definitely when I say Will gave me a cool shout out because I actually do own 4 Clean Eats locations. So
you're our sponsor.
So I definitely hope that you guys do come and see me at Clean Eats because outside of real estate, we can definitely help get you where you want to be with your health and save you a ton of money and save you a ton of time with our meal programs. So definitely come and see us at Clean Eats.
Unbelievable. And Sam, where again? You said you had 4 locations. Where are those at?
Yeah, so I'm in Mobile, Alabama at on Airport Boulevard. I'm in Pensacola, Florida on Navy Boulevard. I'm in Shalimar, Florida, which is really close to Eglin Air Force Base. It's in the same town that same county that Destin, Florida is in. And then my 4th location is in Tallahassee, Florida. So we're here ready to serve you. If you need some healthy food on the go, we got you covered.
Excellent, dude. Well, look, guys, we've been on for about 30 minutes. We're gonna try and keep these things like pretty tight. We might keep you entertained for like 5-6 more minutes, but I'm gonna kind of start wrapping us up on this episode. But let's give them some juice again, dude. What do you think? What's been your wildest project to date, Sam?
Man, so probably one of the biggest ones that I did was I borrowed $250,000 from a loan shark to close a deal one time that I knew was a bomb deal. It was on Oakland Island in Florida. This is another premium beach community spot. This property popped up online, and this was in 2021, right in the heat of the market. Everything was a bid war. And so it was put up at kind of a low price saying highest and best offers accepted by noon tomorrow. And I happened to be kind of in the right place at the right time because I happened to be close enough to where I could go see that property that day. And so I went and checked it out. And in my mind, they had it listed at 385, but I knew it was going to be bidded up. And by the time I talked to my realtor, I already knew that they had offers well in the 400s. And so I definitely knew it was a good deal in my mind. The one thing I didn't tell you, this property was zoned. There was a 4-unit building on it, but it was zoned up to 12 residential units an acre, which with the size lot it was, you could have up to 9 units on this property. So you could knock down the building that's there and then turn around and build a 9-unit condo if you wanted. And so that's kind of what I was originally interested in. At the time, I didn't have all the money to do the deal. So I knew I had to get creative. And so I was, talking to multiple hard money lenders, but the timeline to do this deal was really short. These people that were selling it were very aggressive on, you have to close in 3 weeks. There's no extensions, and I had to put up. And so the way I got my offer accepted was I did an all cash offer, which An all cash offer doesn't necessarily mean all cash, but we might get into that in a different episode as far as like what kind of that means. But
I think that's a high.
essentially, yeah, essentially when you make an all cash offer, that means you don't have any financial contingencies to get out of it on. And so it's real aggressive. So if I lose, I lose my earnest money. So I did an all cash offer. I waived inspection contingency, and I did 25,000 non-refundable EMD. So if I lost the deal,
5,000 bones, bro.
25 grand, dude. I've actually I've owned a car. I've owned cars that cost less than that, So
gosh, listen, I don't know if you guys are taking into account what he just said. So he is doing an all cash offer, no finance contingencies, with 25 grand on the table.
No safety nets, basically, is what this offer is. There's like nothing. That's
like going to the blackjack table, right? Like,
I think
I'm all black.
Yeah,
25.
That I'm doing, I'm starting to sell her that like I'm good for it. That when you make an offer like that, and then you better be. Well, the whole deal is like I thought I was good for it with these hard money lenders. And so I had one going, and on day 7, that one crashed out. But I have a lending broker, so he immediately put me in touch with someone else. I got it going. Well, then I found out they're not going to be able to close it in time. And so, dude, I'm panicking. I'm a little nervous. And so I'm talking to my realtors, and luckily these guys know a lot of people. And one of them just had the idea, like, "Hey, dude, I think I know a loan shark that can help you." I was like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yes." So I was like, "Well, let's set up the meeting." So we ended up, setting up a meeting where he came to see me at, cleaning. And when I keep saying he's a loan shark, I don't want to paint the picture of like Tony Soprano, walking in, but this guy,
I think that's a better look. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So, but this guy, like I said, he was an older gentleman. Came and met me, and so I just kind of told him what the deal was, and so I got my offer was for 420 all cash. And so at the time I had, I had about, 200, but I needed about 250, to close with, the fees and closing costs and everything. So, I ended up, he ended up agreeing to do the deal with me. He did this most interesting way to do it. So he gave me the money in the form of a no debt mortgage, which prior to this, I've never even seen this done before. But basically this mortgage,
let me get this right. A no debt mortgage?
Yeah. So basically I learned through him.
Let the listeners know what that is. That's crazy.
Yeah. So basically it's kind of a way that you can that's just kind of how he put the lien against the property. So he basically, the way the deal was structured is that he gave me 250,000, and he would have the option to buy the property for for $1,000 in 90 days, unless I canceled the option by paying him 275, which was his 250 with 10% interest on it. So he got let me pay it, dude. His worst case scenario is that I would do what I said I would do, and I would pay him back, and he'd make 10% on his money in 90 days. That's his worst case scenario. His best case scenario is that I would fail miserably, and then he could come buy my $500,000 piece of property, because I knew for sure that's what it was worth. He'd come buy that for another $1,000, which he loaned me a quarter. So that means he would own a $500,000 piece of property for $251,000 if I failed. So this was a no lose situation for this gentleman.
Fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry for the language there, and for the editors, you guys can just put that out. But this is blowing my mind, because I knew a little bit about this deal. But dude, this is the best case scenario thing.
I'll be honest here. I had a little bit more balls than brains at the time. Like, dude, it was.
Sam gave me like a huge shout out on why he wanted to partner with me. You guys obviously see why I want to partner with this guy. He's a winner. Like, he is a dog.
Yeah. So like I said, I ended up doing the deal. He gave me the money, closed it. The day, and I do want to just take a step back. The reason I was so confident, I don't want you to think I was a complete idiot. I knew I could get financing for the deal. I just knew I
Sam
couldn't
is
get
an idiot. One of the smartest guys I know. This is all for fun and animation, but this is a 100% true story, and it is. It blows my mind every time you tell it
yeah.
to me. Sam. Like, this
Yeah.
is crazy.
So I knew the deal was that I knew I could eventually get financing. I just knew I couldn't get it in the 21 days I had to close. And that was the problem. So I knew if I had a couple months, I could find a bank that would give me the money. You know, I got great credit. I got good track history. So anyway, that was the deal. So the day I closed on it, I immediately had two banks going. I had two loan applications going at the same time. I paid for two appraisals at the same time, you know, and so like at like, you know, $700 in appraisal just because
My
I'm
boy
like,
was saying, I am not turning this over for 200.
I'm not losing. I'm not losing. You know, at the same time, I like set up meetings with like three different people I knew that would be great to partner with on the deal. You know, so I'm like going 5 plans at once, which man, let me kind of just tell everyone, if you are doing any kind of real estate stuff, don't plan for one way. And don't plan one way at a time. You know, sometimes you got to try a few things at the same time and then figure out which one.
Need to loop that. That is gold. So if you guys are listening, Sam, run that back again, because that is crazy good advice. If you don't pick anything from the podcast and you just think we're two funny guys that have lucked into a few deals and then we happen to have made stuff work, like this is golden advice right here.
Right. So you just have to sometimes run multiple plans at the same time when you know that failure is not an option. And failure was not an option. Like, you know, I did have the money to do that, but I didn't have the money to lose it. Like if I would have lost out on that deal, dude, that would have set me back probably like 2 years. You know, like but like I said, I was confident in myself of knowing that I'm gonna go at it in so many ways that one way is going to be successful. So like I said, I went to 2 different meetings. I had the 2 loans going, and eventually I had these guys that said they wanted to buy half it from me for $250. So I sold them half the deal for $250. So I had the principal back. I did have some money saved, so I put the 25%, the $25,000 VIG on top, so that way he had his interest, and I had the money in 33 days. So I had 90 days to pay him back, paid him 30. Technically, because he was busy and our schedules didn't line, I didn't pay him till day 37. But I'm super proud that, like I said, I had 90 days to pay him, and I paid him in 37 days his $275,000. And the way that deal worked out, we got development plans for it. The economy changed a little bit, so I was a little nervous about building it myself, but we ended up selling the whole deal, and I walked away with 80,000 profit off the deal. You know, because we ended up, after we had all our plans, we were able to sell it for over 500,000. It was actually, I think, just under 600,000 is what we were able to sell it for. And so, like I said, with the things we did to it, I was able to make an $80,000 profit, even after paying the guy back with his interest. And so there's another lesson that is too, Will, is that, you know, just because someone's charging you a high interest rate doesn't mean it's a bad deal for you if you know you can do better with it. You know, like, don't let a high interest rate.
Dude, I agree 100%, because technically, right, it's 10% of $250,000, but you only gave that you gave it back to him in a month, right?
Right.
So technically, you're paying. He made 120% off of his money, like annual yield percentage, right? Because if you take that multiple by 12 months, you know, of 10% on, like, generally, but he made that money back in 1 month. Like, dude, not a bad deal on him, but hell of a deal on Sam's part, because literally, how much actual money, again, tell everybody that you brought to the table? Yours?
Yeah. So I brought it 200,000, you know,
So
to
you brought
the table.
200,000, and you held it for how long?
So we sold this thing. It was pretty much right about 20 months.
Okay, so in 20 months, so we're talking less than 2 years, you made 80 Gs. So that's like working. Actually, that's making more than minimum wage, right? Like 2,000 hours, $20 an hour. What? That's $40,000 a year, right? So that's like working a job, making, you know, $25 an hour that he just added on top. You know, but he had all of the ideas, you know, foolproof plan. with another backup foolproof plan. You know, like that's how you win in this game, right? You know, you got to.
Because if those investors wouldn't have came in, I would have still been able to take it down myself with my own loan. I wouldn't have had the vision to build a big building without the investors. But there was a fourplex on there that I easily could have renovated, had 4 Airbnb units that would have been able to walk to the beach. And like this spot, there's some things I left out. The end of the street is a public beach access. Right also at the end of the street was an ice cream shop and a little putt golf thing. So this is like definitely a great family vacation spot. All this is a walk away, so like right at like in the block. So my family actually still has
if we could have it this time in our life, dude, we could be tearing it down right now and then ripping up new construction. That's part of the game. That's part of the game.
And I mean, look, one thing you definitely will hear from a lot of people in real estate is you'll regret every property you sold. And I mean, look, I wish I wouldn't have sold it before I would have met Will, because we could have ended up probably developing it together. So there you go. Like I said, you regret every one you sold, and there's one of the ones I wish I would have had back.
Dude, that's so funny. I'm thinking about a deal. We're gonna wrap up here because you guys have been like just cruising with us. And, like, I'm having a blast, Sam. This has been freaking awesome, and like I'm learning things that I feel like Sam and I should have talked about, especially like leading up to the show, but like everything's live and we're just having a good time with it. But it's so funny that you say that, because there is a deal where I built this new house in a pretty cool like downtown area in Pensacola, Florida. But it was during COVID. So I had like a less than 3% interest rate on it. And I'm like, shoot, why don't I still have that? Because that thing would just be renting like crazy right now at like 3%. I think it was, dude, if I recall, I got it at like 2.95. It was like under 3% when I finished.
That would have been a cash flow machine. Yeah. So anyone listening, I highly recommend you don't sell any of those properties under 3%. Like if you got under 3%, you just got to because
Sam and I will take over that. Sam and I will take over that loan from you. So again,
let me know. We'll buy it
directly, because we will take it down, and we'll keep you. Honestly, we love, like, the thing I love about Sam, and something that I just really genuinely think that's like boosted our partnership, is like we're totally all about having something and partnering with people instead of trying to do like something all by ourselves and getting all of nothing. So like if it's something that you're struggling with, or like you don't think you're managing it properly, like Sam is an awesome business person. I feel like I can manage some things pretty well myself. So like if there's something you need help on, like, and you want to stay on the note, like we can make a partnership. There's so many creative ways, like
definitely.
Talking about getting plans to develop it, selling it, making it $80,000, in less than 2 years on just raw land. Like that's incredible. Like renovating someone else's condo that can't actually physically go to it and see how terrible it is, and getting an awesome, living an awesome year on the beach. Like there's totally a ton of ways that we can help you guys. So if you guys like have something that you think is a good deal, we are totally down to partner with you, as long as the numbers make sense. Or if you have something that you own that you're thinking about selling, kind of like going back to that advice, you might regret selling it, but what we can do if you need some more, freed up cash or something, is we can partner up, and we're super fair. Like that's the thing. We'd rather have, like,
on that note, like I've actually done deals with people where they've actually been stuck. Like an Airbnb I'm a partner in right now. My friend, he was stuck trying to sell it. He couldn't sell it when the market all shifted. I ended up buying half his equity from him. And this guy, he never did Airbnbs before, so that's why he didn't want to go into it by himself. That's why he wanted to sell it. But he knew I was an experienced Airbnb superhost, and so
Sam is being super humble right now. He absolutely crushes it on Airbnb, which we will probably have multiple episodes on that.
Well, go ahead. Yeah. But yeah, so that was the deal, is that so I knew there was about this particular property about $140,000 in equity. So I ended up writing him a check for 70. So he and I were 50-50 partners in the equity. And the deal was, he actually has a great construction background as well. It's funny how I navigate to those people, and so, but he doesn't want to deal with. He didn't want to deal with people. He didn't want to deal with guests. He didn't want to manage housekeepers. So I do all that. So I do answer all the guest messages. I line up the housekeepers cleaning. But man, if anything ever breaks in there, I call him up and he goes and fixes it. And so it's been a great deal ever since. And he got to avoid doing all the things he didn't want to do. I get to avoid ever banging a hammer or twisting a wrench or doing any repairs, and it's been a beautiful partnership. So that was a great example of what Will was talking about. That, like I said, it's already been done in real life.
Yeah, dude, and honestly, I cannot wait for the Airbnb episode, because shortly after Sam and I became, opened up our business and started partnering on some stuff, he had the wildest Airbnb story. And he sent me this photo and he said, dude, you'll never believe what happened at one of my rentals. And I was like,
yeah, we'll have to do an episode of just Airbnb scary stories, because
I can't wait for that one. So that's gonna be so fun.
Man, look, dude, I've had a great time on this first episode. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Anything else you want to say? Any way people can get in touch with you or anything like that?
Yeah, guys, I really appreciate you guys sticking with us. This has been an unbelievable time. Like Sam, when he first told me about it, like we were pretty much all on board, but this is actually just raw footage. Like right now, like I hope we can post this raw and then we can actually get an edited version of it, because I've just been geeking back here. I can hear Sam in the other room too, kind of. Yeah. It's just like, I'm having a blast. Totally stoked to get connected with you guys. If you guys have any type of questions, comments, concerns, want to partner on a deal, want us to look at a deal, you can totally find us and email us directly at Elite, ELITE REIFL @gmail.com. So that's Elite Real Estate Investment Florida @gmail.com. So Elite REIFL @gmail.com. And then we'll leave all of our contact information in the show notes. But also like my personal phone number, which I might regret throwing out there right now, but you guys can feel free to ping me, is 251-232-4800. We have a ton of fun. We always like, shooting deals and shooting the fun. I was going to say something else, but we want to make this family friendly for everybody. But yeah, feel free to, call me, text me. If I don't answer, leave me a voicemail, ping me, give me a text. Ironically, I don't have social media, which people think is strange, but I gave you my personal phone number. So like, what else do you want?
Yeah. Well, I bet you after a few phone calls, he's going to create an Instagram. Because I was going to tell you, I'm not going to give you guys all my phone number right now, but you can find me on Instagram at Sam_FloridaMan. Sam_FloridaMan. I love the state of Florida. It's my home state. So definitely come and you can shoot me a DM. If we get to talking there, I will then send you my number so that way we can talk on the phone. But also I want to make sure I don't get called by all the people that are just trying to sell me houses or get me loans. My phone number out there. So
true. I will probably not filter it. Like if you guys want to leave me a voicemail and you are a loan shark, like I'm all about John. One of my favorite movies, so whatever.
Well, cool. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. But hey, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We hope to bring some great guests on this show that know way more than we do. So that way we can learn at the same time as we help everyone learn. And we just, like I said, we want to help people be successful and make money in real estate. I think that's the goal. And I'll go ahead and let Will close us out completely.
Yeah, guys. Again, thanks so much. This has been like I said, I've just been having a blast. I can't wait. We might even just rip through another episode, because I'm just all jazzed up right now. But thanks again for listening. Please like, subscribe, follow. We're going to be posting this on pretty much anywhere where you can find your podcasts, as well as YouTube. Every I know every single person says it, but when you start actually filming and doing podcasts and stuff, it really does matter. Like when you just like and subscribe, like even if you subscribe and turn notifications off, like it still helps us that you subscribe to the channel, and it'll allow other people to also get access to our information that we don't know, which is the benefit of social media. But again, Elite Real Estate Podcast with Sam and Will. Had just a ton of fun. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.